All right, shooter ready. All right, I want you to hit a reload with it. You can just put subtitles on that.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andrew. We're back here comparing Gucci, mid-tier, and cheap guns. This is Connor. I don't know, you guys probably know him from some other videos I've done with him. And this is Dylan. Dylan is a new homeowner, and he just bought a gun to you know, defend himself. So we brought him out here to shoot a little bit, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk about these a little bit and let you guys know what you should get. All right, so first off, we're gonna go ahead and go over the price and basically build of everybody's gun. So we'll go ahead and start from cheapest to highest. Mr. Dylan, what you got there?
Smith & Wesson.
Do you know the model and all that?
No.
Okay. How much did you pay for it?
$500.
$500. And Connor?
All right, I got me a Glock 17 Gen 5. I have me a Hollow Sun red dot sight on here, and I've also got a TLR1 HL. This setup right here is going to cost roughly $1,000.
And right here I have a SIG X-Carry Legion. It has a Delta Point Pro and a TLR1 HL. This setup runs a little under $2,000. So, all right, so real quick, we're gonna go over all of these guns, and then we're gonna go ahead and shoot them a little bit, you know, kind of compare different things about the guns. So starting out, all right guys, so starting off with Dylan's gun, this is a M&P. It's a 40 Smith & Wesson. Me and Connor both have 9mm right here, but this is a very base, you know, kind of entry-level gun. You know, if you're starting out or just want something for home defense, you know, it's never a bad idea to just get a gun, except for a high point. Don't do that. You know, you're gonna end up shooting your fucking self before you end up shooting the intruder. But anyway, yeah, so as far as this gun goes, really, it's pretty comfortable. It's chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, and it's bone stock. Like, this is just exactly, you know, how it comes. And then going ahead with Connor's.
Alrighty, so the reason I initially picked this gun up, I've owned multiple firearms in my lifetime, and I've always been a fan of the Glock platform. Some people say it's too basic, or, you know, you're paying $600 for a $300 gun stock. But in my opinion, the Glock platform, you can't go wrong with it. The customizability is quite nice. My first Glock actually was a Glock 45 Gen 5, and I upgraded to the Glock 17. Some people would say that's a, you know, silly decision, but I just preferred the longer barrel. This gun was not MOS ready, so I did have to remove the rear sight to add this Hollow Sun. And the TLR1 HL, it's one of my favorite flashlights. I run it on all my handguns. The reason I went with this gun is I prefer 9mm of caliber. I prefer higher capacity. You know, somebody like Dylan, he went with the 40. He wanted a little bit more stopping power, which his capacity is comparable. I believe it's what, 15 rounds?
16.
16 rounds. So yeah, well, the Glock 17, you're gonna get 17 plus 1. Essentially, when I started with this gun, I was kind of wanting to go for a bare bones setup. Initially just had the stock Glock 17, and over time, I started customizing it, and I was customizing my other guns at the same time, but as of right now, this is my main carry gun. I have the dot on it, flashlight, just for better target acquisition and the ability to get more precise shot. But yeah, that's about as far as I can think of right now.
All right, and then moving on to my SIG X-Carry. So my first ever handgun was also a Glock 19. It was a Gen 3. Hated those finger grooves, so I ended up wanting to upgrade a little bit. And I'm kind of a buy once, cry once kind of person. So what I ended up doing is I kind of was looking around, and, you know, P320s in general just have really good reviews, but The X Carry and just kind of the Legion series in general has, for the most part, upgraded parts just that come with the gun. So I ended up landing on this, and so far I really like it. So going ahead and just going over the gun, it comes with a threaded barrel, triggers upgraded. I have a Delta Point Pro. One of the reasons I kind of wanted a red dot on here, obviously like he said, more accurate shots, a little bit more quickly. As long as you can find the dot, a lot of people complain about that, not being able to find the dot. Yeah, you just need to train more. You just need to get out and actually use it, and then you should be able to find the dot with, you know, good amounts of repetition.
It's like finding the clip. What type of gun do you think a guy that looks like me would use?
A high point, 100%.
This would be the gun I would prefer. It's a high point. It's a Luger, but I call it a Ruger.
How much you pay for it?
Like 150 bucks. This does everything I need it to do. It's got a non-binary trigger.
You mean like a normal trigger?
I'm just messing with y'all, but yeah, I'm Riley.
Anyways, fuck, I forgot where I was at now.
You're talking about finding the clip.
So anyways, finding the clit, you know, same thing as finding this gun. I found it, I love it, and you know, she's happy with it.
Too.
So the gun comes basically kind of stippled a little bit, and then this little beaver tail that goes over your hands, pretty aggressive, whereas like some Glocks, it'll just barely hang over your hand for the most part, or if you got more manly hands, yeah, like if you look at the difference right here, beaver tail over mine, and he's wearing a glove, but even then, it's still not even comparable. It's like, the beaver tail helps a lot. And then grip angle, it's not too much different, it's pretty similar, but yeah. So that's really about it about the SIG. It's a more competition style gun, whereas this is kind of a do everything gun, and his kind of like a...
I mean, his gun is more like, I need a gun.
Yeah, his
and I don't really care what it is, as long as it's, you know, decently reliable.
Is your house on the hood?
No.
No,
Okay,
it's
good.
It's
My one neighbor's kind of rough, the other one's nice.
he's surrounded by roughnecks.
Roughnecks, okay.
Roughnecks.
Okay. So,
People that might be on meth.
Like me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
His neighbor actually,
Right.
his neighbors look like, there's like 20 of them that look exactly like that.
yeah, hat and everything. But anyways, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on and shoot these, and then we're gonna go a little bit more in depth about specific differences, specifically when shooting the gun. We're gonna go over like the trigger and all that kinds of stuff. And yeah, that's about it. Let's go ahead and shoot. Oh, fuck. So anyways, guys, obviously, as far as the shooting goes, it's gonna be very shooter dependent, depending on how much training said shooter has. And honestly, we're not gonna dive into that too much. So obviously, like somebody who trains all the time is gonna be able to still outperform somebody, regardless if the gun's $2,000 or $500, they're gonna outshoot them just because they have more time behind the gun, more experience, and they're more comfortable. So we're still gonna let everybody shoot their own gun, but we're just gonna be talking about more specific stuff and showing it to you guys.
You want more?
Give it to me. Okay, so anyways, guys, we just got done shooting. So here is my hot take on should you spend $2,000 on a gun or $500? And I'm gonna be very honest. I don't care what you do. Personally, I wouldn't go as far as to get a high point, you know, for $100. But I also don't necessarily think that you need to spend $2,000 to get a good gun. Personally, if I had a recommendation for you to get a gun for generally everything, you know, Glock or honestly some SIGs are pretty good for first timers, but I'm almost always going to recommend a Glock, just straight up. As far as protecting your own life with a gun, it's going to come down to you actually using the gun, getting familiar and training comfortable. That's going to be the biggest deciding factor, whether you can defend your life and other people's. So if you get a gun, train with it. That's all I have to say.
So what does a Glock do that a $100 gun wouldn't?
Jam.
It would shoot.
One of the reasons I recommend Glock over, for the most part, everything else is it does everything good. You know, it does it, in my opinion, good enough. And on top of that, it's reliable. It's also an extremely popular platform, so there's going to be a lot of, you know, holsters made for it, holsters with light compatibility, red dots. You know, you can get pretty much anything for a Glock.
There you go, Riley.
What's up? My name's Riley. I'm a aerospace engineering major. I'm gonna work for SpaceX one day, and I'm gonna make self-sustaining energy.
How you gonna do that?
I'll do it.
All right, guys, you heard it here first, folks. Riley Stevens gonna work for SpaceX and make
I'm gonna own SpaceX.
Jam on the first shot.
Damn.